call this meeting of Palmyra Borough Council to order. Everyone please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence for the armed services. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brenda, may we please have roll call?
Counselor Andrews,
Present.
Counselor Catalani. Counselor Flegel,
Here.
Counselor Coroli,
Here.
Counselor Rydell,
Here.
Counselor Touche, Counselor Shear,
Here.
Mayor Carpenter. We have a quorum.
Okay. Just a reminder for council members to please turn on your microphones. And another reminder for everyone to please silence all cellular devices during the meeting. Thank you. No special visitors scheduled, so that takes us to public comment period number 1. Please step up to the microphone over there at the podium, state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Dave McCloskey, 212 East Ridge Road. I think I'm just going to start here every meeting from now on. It's just easier. I know we have it scheduled later in the meeting, an update on Melrose. But since I have more time now, I'm going to ask for whatever updates we have available.
I don't really have an update. As we discussed at the last meeting, we had asked, we sent an invitation to North Londonderry Township to send whoever they wanted to send to this meeting to discuss anything, and they respectfully declined. And that's all I really have at this point.
Well, we do have some friends from North Londonderry with us tonight.
Yes, we
Thank
do.
you for coming. They've been a pleasure to work with. I wish their supervision or supervisors, however we want to say it, would be a little more accommodating for all of us. For the most part, it's been fairly quiet. I would really like to get this thing put to bed so I can get the big hole in my front yard fixed up. All suggestions, ideas, where we can go next, what we can try to do. I understand that we've been invited to attend their meeting. Are we going to attend their meeting?
I've gotten no invitation.
I think the response that I got was any resident
Yeah,
would be able to approach them.
what I read was
Yeah.
residents were supposed
I
to
don't
reach
think I
out to
mentioned anything
them.
about, yeah.
We weren't invited.
Okay, how many of you are residents of the borough?
Residents of North Londonderry.
they're-
Residents of North Londonderry.
I'm not in North Londonderry, so.
I think they were extending the invitation to residents of the township to go to the meeting.
Oh.
You know, that's how I got it.
That's how I took it
That's what I
too.
read.
I would assume that the residents have an open invitation. Why would they be?
Agreed.
Do we know when their next meeting is?
When do they meet? The third Monday of the month, I think?
Thought it was the first Monday of the month.
So, I think it's the third Monday.
Well, to be honest with you, the direction was to invite them here to a public meeting to discuss this. I would have respectively declined that too. How about inviting them to a closed meeting with the residents rather than, you know, a public forum? I mean, if they would come here, they'd be on the hot seat. if they're in a more private meeting, like the last meeting you had, maybe they would accept it.
I have no objection to it. Like I said, want to put it to bed, get it over with. If that's
Just a
the
thought.
direction that,
Can we try that?
We can try it. I mean, I don't know that it's going to make a difference, but at least you've attempted to not
Right.
put them in the hot seat on a public meeting.
perfectly fine with me.
Okay with you guys?
Sorry, I'm trying to find out when their
Okay,
meeting
Jane,
is.
sorry.
Okay, I'll go back and be quiet now.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment, period number 1? Great. Closing public comment, period number 1. Jane, did you find a date yet?
Meeting minutes, October 21st. So that must be the third Monday.
Thanks. Yeah.
That was last night.
Great, so you'll extend, okay, thank you. All right. I'm sorry. All right, moving on to the consent calendar. The following agenda items will be acted upon by a single motion unless a member of Borough Council wishes a specific item to be voted on separately. Approve the minutes of the October 8th, 2024 Borough Council meeting. Approve payment of all bills listed on the September 2024 detailed check listing report. And approve the treasurer's report for the period September 1 through September 30th, 2024.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, that takes us to action and discussion items. Resolution 2024-21, amend the 2024 fee schedule for new refuse, contract costs, and land plan fees. Discussion on and if appropriate, to approve Resolution 2024-21, amending the borough fee schedule.
So I have one question on page 2. We've got a 33-gallon container still listed, or?
Yeah, we don't have many left, and if people would want to use them for yard waste, they
Okay.
could.
But the yard waste, how large are the yard waste?
They're 25 gallons.
Okay, so if they want a larger one, they can, okay. That was my only question. So, nobody else has a question, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, road closure request, 2024 Lions Club Ranger Night. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggest a motion to authorize the Palmares Lions Club to close South Railroad Street from Main Street to Cherry Street from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday, December 21st, 2024, for the Reindeer Night event at the Town Square. Chief, any issues with that?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Amendment to intermunicipal agreement between Lebanon County Treasurer's Office and Palmyra Borough. Discussion on and if appropriate, suggested motion to approve the request by the Lebanon County Treasurer's Office to increase the cost of collecting each tax bill from 50 cents per tax bill to $1 per tax bill.
So I understand that apparently there hasn't been an increase since 2009.
Right.
Okay, so I get that. Are there any other options? I mean, I don't know.
Certainly none cheaper, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't, like, have we always had the county, and forgive me, because the county's been doing it as long as I've been on
Yeah, as
council.
long as I can remember, yeah.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to the 2025 draft budget presentation.
Ready?
Yes. I wanted to give you lots of time, Roger.
Okay. First of all, apologies, I do not have my typical PowerPoint presentation tonight, so the audience is going to be kind of in the dark. But I did tab a couple of these, and we'll just go through it. The first item on page 2 is our meeting schedule for next year. All the meetings are on there. We don't have any meeting conflicts next year except for Christmas Eve, so I bumped that to Monday night. So hopefully that's acceptable. And I did notice there is a mistake. I still had January 2nd highlighted. That was from our reorganization meeting last year. We won't have one of those this year, so the actual first meeting will be January 9th. So I'll fix that for the preliminary. Yeah, and I'll have to change that too, I believe. That's why this is a draft.
Yeah, just making sure we're working.
Page 5 is kind of the budget message that lists everything that was put into this year's budget. So starting with the general fund, the August consumer price index was 3.4%, so that is how salaries were increased for next year. And also some additional adjustments were made, what we discussed at a previous executive session for some of the office staff, so that's also included. Our health insurance premiums are going up 14.3% for next year. All of our traffic signals have battery backups except Main and Lingle Avenue, which creates some problems at times, so we got prices for that. So the $11,390 is to install the battery backup system on that signal, so when the power drops, all the signals will continue working and the police don't have to be bothered with it.
Is that a backup just on the control
Just
unit?
yes,
box?
just the traffic signals,
Okay.
yes. It just keeps the signal functioning. For the administration department, every year we put money aside for the vehicle replacement, so that's indicated there, $3,061. Last several years, we've been kicking around how to improve our mapping. There's more requirements for mapping for us, especially with the stormwater, the MS4 stuff. None of our stormwater facilities are really mapped yet. And we've been trying to do it with some of these with the CS Datum program, and if we would do just a straight up subscription through Esri for the actual GIS software. But we did get a demo it's called IMGIS is the company's name. We really liked it. It seems very user-friendly. It's fairly cost-effective. So it's $8,500 for the software per year. It will be, I think, $7,500. They charge us $1,000 to get set up for the first year, and then it'll be like $7,500 from there. We can split the cost between the sewer fund and the general fund because Public Works would like to start identifying where our sewer laterals are when we get to cammering all the lines, so that when emergency one calls and things happen, they'll be able to do it with a tablet and mark everything instead of shuffling through our ancient paper maps. So the other component of that is you need a GPS locator to input the data. So that unit's about $5,000. That's a Trimble R2. And again, that could be split between sewer and general fund. So that's pretty much it for anything new for administration.
So to map our sewer pipes, our sewer lines, this is what we would need yet.
We have the sewer system mapped. We have all the manholes, all the pipes mapped already. We do not have where each of your individual sewer lateral
Right,
is connected
right.
to the main. We do not have that.
So in order to do
That's-
that,
Yeah. And also, basically with our MS4 permit with DEP, they require us to have a stormwater map, which we still do not have, so.
so what were we talking about? Was it the last meeting or the meeting before?
The camera?
The little camera?
Yes, we'll get to that.
So that's in addition to this?
Yeah,
That's what I was getting at. Is this all we need, or is there more? Okay.
there's more. But wait, there's more.
That's what I was afraid of.
This system would also allow us to GIS all of our signs.
Yes.
Right now, we have an Excel spreadsheet. It does not,
I remember when that was
oh
being
my
done.
gosh, yeah, and we're required to have that.
Yes.
So we'd be able to use this system to actually locate all of our signs on our GIS system, so we'd have a sign layer.
And then also new for this year is our EMS service agreement with Lifeline Ambulance. So that has been included in there, $39,150 for the first 2 years, and then it'll go up a little bit for the remaining 8 years of the 10-year contract. Police Department, we really don't see that anymore because it's the regional police commission will take care of reviewing and approving that. But I do have the proposed numbers there. It's about a 2.8% increase, or about an additional $60,689 from what we're paying this year. Public Works Department, we talked about getting our full complement up to 6 employees. We currently have 5, so the 6th person has been included. Our lawn mowers are due for replacement. So we will be replacing, we currently have 2 units that need to be replaced, and Clint would like to add a 3rd unit because he would like to have 2 separate mowing crews if we do have 6 people. So that'll enable us to do the mowing in probably half the time of what we do now, so we have more time to do other more important things than just mow grass. So those prices have been included. And also, he would like an additional small landscape trailer like you see our guys tow the mowers with now. So that's an additional approximately $4,000. The road salt contract goes up every year. It went up another 5.7%. That's the same increase we had last year. So the cost per ton went from $83.06 per ton to $88.05 per ton. Fortunately, last year we didn't even use any salt, but I'm sure that's not going to continue. Salt brine, North Londonderry had given us the salt brine maker. We still have to get that set up so that we can make salt brine, but we did, so we're not sure. That's why I have it highlighted in yellow, because I'm not sure what kind of cost. We haven't had time to really delve into that. But that number, the 14.4 that you see there, has been carried over for the last several years to try to get this going. We also had money budgeted for an applicator trailer. That's what the previous superintendent wanted. We got prices on units that actually slide in the beds of the dump trucks. They're cheaper. We can actually get one for one of the big dump trucks and one for the smaller dump truck for less than what that trailer would have cost. So we're actually going to get them that this year, since it was in this year's budget. So that's why you don't see that there anymore. But so then all we'll have to do is get up and running on making the salt brine. So they also requested a commercial grade washer and dryer, because doing what they do, they get dirty at times. We do have uniform service, but they're, this time of year they're wearing sweatshirts. That's not part of the uniform contract. Their winter jackets are not part of the uniform contract. So that way when they get soiled, they can wash them and not have to take them home and use their own machines.
Would that mean that we could get rid of the uniform service?
Well, we have a 3-year contract with them.
Okay.
So we should probably wait to maybe add that to
So-
the uniform contract.
So when 3 years start, when does that end? Do you remember?
It started in 2024.
Oh,
We
okay.
just renegotiated.
So maybe we shouldn't do that until the contract's up, because then we like paying for both. That doesn't make sense.
No, you're not paying for both. They're not, the uniform company does not wash the sweatshirts or the winter jackets.
No, right, but we're still in a contract where we paid them, and then we buy this, so we would have both. Like, we can't get out of that contract, can we?
I don't believe we can.
So, yeah, so I'm just saying, maybe we just wait then until the contract's up, then we do that, because that's, I don't know, I just look at dollars. doesn't grow on trees.
And then we kind of looked at the vehicle replacement schedule, again, revised some of the prices. Everything's getting so ridiculously expensive, so we had to up the amount we put in there each year to meet the replacement schedule. So 188, 170 is the amount that's earmarked for that.
Does that include the dump trucks we just were talking about? I mean,
Yes.
that would,
That money will go towards that,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
to keep the capital reserve fund to the point that it'll support all those purchases, yes.
I have a question about the slide-in units that, did you say you already bought them? Or
We're in
you're
the
buying
process
them?
of getting them, yeah.
Do we have a place to store them until we would get that
Yeah, I
brine unit
I
up
believe
and
so,
running?
yeah.
So that they don't weather?
Yeah, and the nice thing about, I forgot to mention this, the nice thing about those salt brine tanks is they also have a hose reel on them. We can use them for weed sprayers in the summertime. So if it gets to the point where it's really nasty on the curbs or whatever, I mean, it's the responsibility of the property owner, but if we wanted to
careful,
do
right.
that ourselves, we would have.
make
them
sure it doesn't
made
go
to do that.
over the curb.
Right. Yeah,
We
the
had
street
that issue
sweeper, yeah,
before.
yeah. The only thing parks related is we still have the money. We bought the new basketball poles and nets for the basketball court at Heritage Park. The money you see there is what's left to actually build the new court. So Clint is working on seeing if he can still do it for this price, so. And the street resurfacing program, the bids are gonna be due, actually on Election Day, 2 PM on Election Day, November 5th. We'll have the bid results. Hopefully, it'll be a lot less than what you see here. Routu's estimates are usually 10-15% on the high side, so we have $427,000 set aside in the general fund, and then $230,000 coming out of liquid fuels, and we are not proposing any microsurface streets this year. And the streets that we are doing, East Maple Street from South Railroad Street to the municipal boundary,
That's in here.
yeah. And then also East Oak Street from South Forge Road to the municipal boundary. And then we always try to budget $100,000 to transfer from the general fund to the capital reserve fund to continue building that fund for future capital costs. And every year, we also transfer some money from the general fund into the employee benefits fund to cover the PTO banks that are owed to people that are retiring. So now for the best news, if everything is staying the way it is here, we're about $810,000 short. And I think one of the reasons, I'll point this out in a second, but we'll just skip that part. So our millage rate right now is 4.11 mils. To fund all this stuff, you'd have to raise it 1.61 mils, which is the most that I've ever even seen. So you'd be going up to 5.72 mils.
More than Lebanon City.
You're,
It's more than Lebanon City.
it's irrelevant. So the increase to the average property owner, average property owner here is $182,000, so they'd be paying an extra $293.16 per year, about $24 a month. The fire protection fund, everything seems fine there. It seems to be going along good. So nothing needs to be adjusted there. Refuse fund, it does look like the $112 a quarter will work. Casella's getting ready to start November 1st, so we'll have, before you approve the final budget, we will actually get their first monthly bills, because I don't know what they're going to charge us yet. I mean, I kind of did some math and figured out what it should be based on the increase that we got, but until we actually see their bill, I'm not going to be 100%. But I think we'll be fine at the $112 a quarter. On this paper, I have that the sewer fund looks okay. As of today, I'm not sure about that. We made some changes today. It's a little bit short. It's about $30,000 short, but we have another quarter of revenue to come in yet, so we'll have a better handle on that by next month. I'm showing the 50% share of the IMGIS there, $67.50. Special sewer fund is where all your big expenditures this year are. As we talked about before, relocating Pump Station 3 and rebuilding it, estimates about $750,000. R2 is just now starting to work on designing that, so we'll have a better idea what that cost is gonna be. And then the sewer camera and truck, that's $400,000. And since Clint has been here, he's noticed that we've had some issues at the pump stations with rags and things like that. So the grind hog units that we used to have in the stations were removed.
Right.
They're not in a condition to be put back in service, unfortunately. Clint has good experience with Muffin Monster machines, which if you remember back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Gretchen Van Suyk said that's
Oh,
what we
yeah.
should go with. Probably should have listened to her. So we just got prices on that. It's about $94,000 for the units at the main pump station 1 and Pump Station 2. We would take care of Pump Station 3 as part of the rebuild. There's also, some of these we might be able to install ourselves. The main pump station, we definitely cannot, so Clint is getting prices on from a contractor to install that. So that'll be in addition to what we have here, because that's not known yet. So that's the overall picture of next year's budget. If we go to page 10, I wanted to point out one of the things with the general fund. Typically, we need $700,000 to get through the first quarter of each year. And as you can see, our beginning balances are usually $800,000. Well, this year, we only have $426,000.
Sorry, what page are you on?
I'm sorry, page 10.
Oh, that's what it was.
And I think the biggest problem with that is, as a result of the regionalization, the police money is no longer in the general fund. That money we had to give to the regional money, so that money disappeared, and there's really no way to replace it. So we're starting out with less. So that's one of the big contributing factors to this year.
What do we have to start? Did you,
Well, we need about $700,000.
okay. Is that possible to borrow from the capital reserve until,
Well, that was
Revenue comes
that was
in?
my first thought, but I want to touch on that. In fact, we can look at that now. I have it marked. Page 58. With the stormwater project, those things that we just did this year, and we have less money in there. So we only have about $800,000 to play with in the capital reserve fund. So I'm a little bit afraid if we start, like, we could borrow from that to get us through the first quarter, and then when we get the money, put it back, but it's gonna be a constant problem, constantly.
Right.
You're never gonna get caught up. And then with those 2 dump trucks coming up in a couple years, that's another $500,000 right there. So you're getting really, really tight if you wanna use that for that purpose. And you can see on page 21 is where you see the difference between the revenues and the expenditures for next year in the general fund. Page 37, you see the same thing for the sewer fund. Like I said, we're looking at about $37,000 short, but I think that's gonna get made up when our fourth quarter revenues comes in better. Page 46, the refuse fund, you're looking at about an $87,000 unappropriated balance at the end of next year, which is good. Special sewer on page 53, with all that we just discussed doing, you'll still be left with $1.1 million in there, which isn't too bad, considering all your pump stations are gonna be upgraded, and main pump station is in good shape, so I don't see any problem there. Capital reserve we talked about. The employee benefits fund, we had a number of unforeseen retirements this year, I guess we should say, and so it's a good thing we put that money aside when we did, because we really used a lot of it this year. So, so with the people remaining that we have to fund for, we were able to reduce the amount of money to be put in that fund this year. So, $35,000 out of the general sewer and refuse going into that fund. So, then we should be in pretty good shape there. So. On page 70 is where I have all our, how we figure out the millage rate, what it means to different people, compare this year to last year type of thing, so you can see all the taxes that, you know, school district, county, everything that goes into a property owner in the borough. And then there's reference materials, the other tax rates that that other municipalities in the county are paying, charts to compare us versus the other municipalities, our tax history chart, so you can see what how our millage has fluctuated over the last 20 years, 10 years. Copies of the MMO that we already submitted, then we have a consumer price index report from August that we use. And then I also always pull the two regional summaries that we have, Harrisburg and Lancaster. They have one for Lebanon, but they don't print out all the information for Lebanon, so can't use that one. And then finally, the Social Security release, they're going up a whopping 2.5% for next year. And then you have our updated vehicle replacement schedule, and then finally all the salary budget in the last couple pages of the budget. So that's it in a nutshell.
Question. On page 53, and I'm only asking this because I don't know. Under expenditures with special sewer. We've done stuff with Pump Station 3. Why isn't there anything under there as far as expenditures for maintenance with Pump Station 3? Or would it be under a different line item?
We haven't done any like capital improvements for Pump Station 3, so
Okay.
we've been able
So
to handle that out
repairs
of the
is
regular
somewhere
sewer
else.
fund.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That would be, let me see, I can give you a number here. Page 37 shows the Pump Station 3.
Oh, the whole section.
The top section,
Got it,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Wait a minute. Pump Station 3 has a total of like 13,000. I thought
Yeah.
we were replacing that entire thing.
Yes, that'll be paid out of the special sewer fund. The
Okay, so
750,000.
this is just the
That's
sewer
just-
fund.
that-
This
and-
750 on line 760, 429, 760, that's the,
That's the
that's the-
replacement
okay.
cost, yes. The sewer fund just covers your
Got it.
annual maintenance.
any more good news?
That's enough. I wish it was better news.
All right, council, you know what your job is the next 2 weeks.
Thank you for putting it
Get your
together.
posties and your highlighters out.
I'm taking 1 week off from that, though, because I get yelled at if I can.
It's okay.
Roger does a nice job with this
He
budget.
really does, and,
Very organized.
does.
No, it's really-
and we do appreciate it.
Yeah,
Even
We
when it's
appreciate
bad
your
news,
work on it.
we appreciate the time you put into this.
organized.
We don't always appreciate what you present to us, but
all municipal budgets should be like this, so the public knows what's going on.
Well, and
I
let's
defy you
face
to
it,
find the
we're
budget
all
on some
used
of their
to-
websites.
we're paying more for everything. That doesn't make this easier to swallow, but
Right.
I'm sure there are boroughs that get a 3-page budget.
Yeah, budget summaries are popular.
Or a paragraph.
I read in,
Thank you for putting all the work into it that you do.
I read in Levittown's Watara Township, Lebanon County is raising their taxes
I
10%.
yeah.
I saw that.
And I think
It's
that's,
horrible.
are we, please don't take this wrong. Are we, like, the school district can only raise taxes a certain amount before it has to go to a referendum, right?
Yeah, there's
Are
this-
municipalities?
No, they're,
Don't get me wrong, I'm not looking at that. I'm just curious.
yeah, I think the state, it's 6% or something like that, I think, for school districts.
Yeah, and then they have to
Yeah.
put it to the voters.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Which 6% doesn't sound like a lot.
It
but-
is on the
but when
school
it's
budget.
Every year, it's, yeah, it ends
Well,
up
and
pretty
it is
quick.
when you're talking tens of millions of dollars. Wow.
But the school district's already at what, 16 mils?
Yeah,
18.1532 mils, so.
Wait,
It's not gonna stop.
well, wait. They're doing all the building
Oh,
and,
yeah. They're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that's what they want.
okay.
They would love to do 10% like Sotera.
Roger, since this is my first time seeing one of ours, I take it the yellow highlighted as an increase.
Yellow means, I should have said that at the beginning, yellow means something that I'm either watching or we don't know yet.
Okay,
So, subject to change kind of
Pending.
thing.
all right, thank you.
Any other questions for Roger regarding the budget, draft budget?
You know where to find me if you do.
Okay, all right, we'll try and take a look over that for in the next 2 weeks. All right, moving on to reports. I don't have anything for President's Report this week. Financial report, financial statement, everybody has that. Any questions on that?
No, but honestly, it looks good.
And it does.
Almost everything has more money in than out, so thank goodness for
That's the
little
goal.
stuff.
All right, that takes us to the fire department. Okay, anything? Nothing?
Across the street.
Any questions for the fire department?
No.
Sorry, no, it's okay.
She was pretty.
She was getting ready for library report. All right, library report.
I will have it to you this weekend. I just didn't get a chance to type it all out, so.
Okay, Western Lebanon County Regional Police Department. Chief, what you got?
Business as normal, listed, if you have any questions around.
I think I've seen this before.
Make sure they have a copy.
Yes.
Send it to those municipalities, so they don't see, they have questions, please names.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody have anything for Chief? No? Okay. Takes us to the Rec Commission.
You'll get Tina's report, but there was no quorum again. So the Budget Committee reviewed the budget, which will be voted on the next meeting, but if we have a quorum.
Right, Solicitor's report.
Don't think I have anything from her.
Zoning and codes enforcement, zoning hearing board, no hearing was scheduled for Monday, October 18th. Which takes us to Borough Manager's report.
Well, the only thing I had was the Melrose offsite stormwater, and we already talked about that, so that's all I got.
And you'll let us know when you hear back.
Yep, I'll reach out to our North London area folks too, see what meeting dates work for everybody and try to get something put together. We'll try again.
Are you going, if they okay it, are we gonna ask who wants to be in it? Because you can't have all of us.
No. You'd have 3 of you.
Right. Okay, no communications, any other business?
Actually, I thought about it, we're getting ready to start the next wave of aggressive driving, probably another week, so we'll be out enforcing like speeding, aggressive behavior and driving. So we'll see if it's
So watch out, everybody.
Anything? Or no? Jane, you got anything? Anthony?
No, I'm good. Oh, wait, I was just gonna say, sorry for being late. My kid had rec basketball tonight. It was tryouts. So
I like the way you came in and said, I'm here.
It was from 6
Good
to
timing.
7, so I was like, I can't miss this. But yeah, got here when I could. Sorry.
And I'm sorry, Anthony, I do have something. It
Go for
just reminded me. So I got a text, and I'm sure if the mayor was here, he'd be bringing this up. So apparently that neighbor that's behind them,
Oh, yeah.
now has a tub sitting on the sidewalk for 2 months. And the pickup there's sitting there on the jack stand along Railroad Street has no transmission in it.
Yeah, it's bad.
I saw that. There's been guys working on vehicles on the street. I didn't think that was allowed. Right, like right in front of Boyer's.
Boyer's,
All right, we'll address it.
thank you.
Anything else, Anthony?
No, that's it. Just sorry for being late. Yeah.
Roger, Brenda? Anything? Okay. All right, public comment period number 2. Please step to the microphone at the podium and state your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, Sean Hackett, 505 East Ridge Road, which is not in the borough, but it's in, we're in the township. So, but the property I'm talking about is in the borough. Our concern has been from the beginning of the Melrose conversation, the quantity, the quality, and the velocity of the water that's gonna enter the creek that runs through our farm. And my understanding is that that is what North Londonderry, that was the stopping point for the conversation with North Londonderry last time, and I think they're still awaiting further engineering and discussion about that. That's my understanding from talking to employees, not officials of the board. But that concern remains. I mean, my understanding is that the current plan is to repair the drain tile that runs along my sister-in-law's property and have it daylight onto Ridge Road, that water will then find the low spot in Ridge Road and cross Ridge Road into the creek. Assuming that all of that water passes through a filtration of some sort, I don't know that that's a problem. But as that system becomes saturated, even in, you know, a fairly normal spring, if we ever have a fairly normal spring again that's wet, we remember a time when water flowed across that driveway all the time. And so if there's always water that is flowing directly from drainage from Melrose into this system and into the creek, from driveways and lawns that are treated and all of that, that is our concern. And that was our concern when they talked to us about a pipe across the south side of Ridge Road. They wanted to run through that horse pasture into the creek, and we said, if we're going to do this, we need to know what the water quality, quantity, and so on is going to be. I have not yet, I mean, I looked at this the other day. There's an inlet, our side, the east side of the filtration system that they have. I assume that is to pour into the drain tile and then eventually daylight back onto Bridge Road. When I saw this plan a week or two ago, that was my concern, that remains my concern. So I don't know, because it's a repair, I don't know if you need to pass through DEP, the county, the PennDOT, all of the interested parties before you can do this. But this remains my concern. You know, what's gonna happen with the quality of the water? We have animals drinking from that water. We have a well that is just the other side of that creek. We're concerned about the quantity, the quality of the water. That's roughly it. I mean, we know from our Grant Street neighbors that if this doesn't get done correctly at this stage, it's decades and decades of problems. And I know that they have expressed concerns about the way it runs now. And our concerns are if the water's just gonna be sent the other direction, do those concerns just get sent to our creek? Thank you.
Thank you. Roger, do you know, do we need to go through like PennDOT, DEP and all those?
Not for, if we replace what's in that existing easement and Ritu designed an infiltration trench system to replace the system we have there. It's just drain tile now there, so when the water goes in, it just runs out.
Okay.
The infiltration trench is designed to capture the water and hold it so that it can infiltrate into the ground. The only time Mike said he thinks it would overflow is when there's actively heavy rains and the infiltration can't keep up with what's coming in. So then it can bypass out and it will go up, that has like a riser pipe, and it will bubble out the riser pipe down the bank and then along the road. That's how it's designed, so. We can do that, but like we expressed in our meeting that we have with everybody, we don't really necessarily want to do that if not everybody's on board with it, so. We don't want to be those people, but, so we just haven't found the perfect resolution yet. Like I said, we're on, what are we on, Plan G, so.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's your guys' call. If you want us to do that, we can do it. We don't need permits. We can clearly do that, so.
All right, anybody else for public comment?
Hello, Tom Miller, 306 West Walnut Street. To the Borough Council, I want to thank you all because the work that you do right now, this is the critical time of the year. It's always very difficult because it's, you know, related to costs of running a borough. And we sometimes get set back and we say, oh my God, how much cost it is. But we are fortunate that we have manager here who puts together only what's required, even though there are some costs associated with it. But what'll happen is, it's easy for you to sit back and say, oh, we're not gonna do that, no. But what'll happen is down the road, the community will continue to fall and fall apart, and costs don't go down because inflation continues to go up. And that's what's happened to this borough. My experience was, for many years, there was a council that didn't increase any costs to the mill rate. So then as the cost to repair things got so bad, because we had no choice, you had to do those things. So I know this seems like a very difficult time, but please look at the community. It's easy to say no, but reality, if you keep saying no, you're doing a disservice to the community. So I would say really look at this close. I did listen to what was presented. It sounds difficult, but in the community, the world, United States, the cost that is being asked to go up is very reasonable considering the cost of living in other communities outside of this. So it's easy to say no, but please take a look at it. If I was on the group, I would definitely be saying I understand the difficulty of it, but I also would say, as the job that the requirement of the council is to do is for the community, and I hope you can understand that and say yes. If you don't get the trucks, by the way, and you have to go to electrical ones, you're really gonna fall back and go, whoa. So, anyway, that's all. But again, thank you, folks, thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Reed, 233 East Hazel Street. Roger, between the school tax, borough tax, and county tax, do you know what that will be, roughly?
Well, I can tell you. Yep. Because I have the average, roughly the average assessed home. So everything on a roughly 180, that's what this is based on?
Page 70.
Almost $5,200 for everything. And that's on
Per
180.
household?
Yes, not increase, total.
Oh, okay.
Cause no, yes. No, I'm sorry, Greg.
Yes,
I'm looking at the total.
I was
and
going there too.
on 182,000, the total would be almost $5,200.
Boy, I thought my pacemaker was gonna jump out.
No. Although, if I had one, mine would be going, because that's what I have to pay.
And I know you have to, and I agree with Tom to a point, but there has to be some middle ground. I mean, I've seen an elderly lady up at the pharmacy one year getting her medicine. She said, well, there's a couple meals I'm gonna miss this week,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all homeowners in this town. There's a lot of renters. And it seems like not just the borough, the county, the borough, the school district is piling all this stuff on. And I'm good. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But there are a lot of seniors that will. And I would like, you know, you were saying you want to buy this, you want to get this. Is there any way you can try and keep the costs down of different things? Or like when you go to formulate your budget, have you ever scratched something off your budget altogether?
Every year.
I mean, I don't know, we're not really privy to see that.
We normally adjust as we go along.
Okay.
Maybe not as much as some people would like to, but we do adjust.
I'll help.
Yeah.
No, you understand what I'm saying with a lot of seniors. I mean, like I said, I'm good, I don't have a problem, but when I seen that elderly lady, and I know a lot of other elderly people that for 4 years, they didn't get a Social Security increase. And I think this year, I'm getting 2.4. Please, give me a break. So I'd like you to keep in mind the seniors of this community. One other thing to the chief, Is a motorcycle considered a motor vehicle? Harley. You allowed to put them on the sidewalk? Pardon me? Well, if you look down Railroad Street, the same property they're talking about, there's two motorcycles sitting there.
The same property?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Roger, is there a fine for shoving grass in the street, right?
Yes.
Do you know what that fine is?
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay.
And we have to physically see it being done.
Okay,
We have to see it happening.
I'll give
to-
you a phone call. Talk to your people on the bridge.
Can it be somebody saying they saw it? Or taking a photo or a
They say
video?
would a picture work?
Well, that person would be,
Yeah.
if it goes to court, that
That
person would
person
have
would
to be a
have to
witness,
testify.
so they would be
Testify, yeah.
subpoenaed.
I got no problem with
I
that.
don't know if it's one of your new people that don't know the ordinance, but it's been out on the street.
Well, all the guys are new, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying, talk to your people. All right, thank you.
That brings me to a question.
And Mr. Reed, an example of what we actually take out of a budget would be like Tom's Flowers.
That's funny. That makes me think of a question with the grass. I had brought up an issue with someone that was dumping grass across Forge Road, and it ended up that they're actually crossing township lines, borough lines, because they live in the borough and they're dumping on North Londonderry Township. I brought that up about a year ago. Would that be the same thing? You'd have to see him doing it?
Well, and is that,
I think so.
is that area, is that private? On the east side of North Forge? Is that quarry land or is that township, owned by the township? Do we
No,
know?
it's quarry land.
Okay, so they're dumping it on private property, not even
With no
just taking
trespassing
it
signs
across,
posted.
but dumping it on private ground.
So that would be another one where it would have to be seen.
Seen, and it's probably more of an issue between who's doing it versus the
That's-
property owner.
It has more to do with the property owner. If they
Yeah.
don't care, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they don't want anything done, you can dump grass there all day. If they call and complain, it's a problem. So, and they don't, if they're not concerned about it, then it's not an issue.
Even if there's a no trespassing sign posted.
But they're the victim.
Okay.
The victim is the actual party. If they don't want anything done,
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Wait, anybody else for public comment period number 2? No? Okay. Closing public comment period number 2. Announce the Borough Council will conduct its next public meetings on Tuesday, November 12th, 2024, and Tuesday, November 26th, 2024, beginning at 7 PM. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Whatever, yeah.
That's interesting. So there's no trespassing signs, don't mean a thing.